In the name of Allah, most merciful, most gracious, today we talk about artificial intelligence, definition and background. If we want to embed AI in society, we need to understand what it is. What do we mean by artificial intelligence? How has the technology developed? Where do we stand now? Defining AI is not easy. In fact, there is no generally accepted definition of the concept. Numerous different ones are used. And this can easily lead to confusion. It is therefore important to clarify our use of the term. We started by discussing various definitions of AI, then explain which we have settled on. The sheer variety of definitions in circulation is not due to carelessness, but inherent in the phenomenon of AI itself. In its broadcast definition, it is equated with algorithms. However, this is not an especially useful approach for our analysis. Algorithms predate AI and have been widely used outside this field. The term algorithm is derived from the name of the 9th century Persian mathematician Muhammad ibn Musa al-Khwarizmi and refers to a specific instruction for solving a problem or performing a calculation. If we were to define AI simply as the use of algorithms, it would include many other activities such as the operation of a pocket calculator or even the instructions in a cookbook. In its strictest definition, AI stands for the imitation of computers of the intelligence inherent in humans. Purists point out that many current applications are still relatively simple and therefore not true AI. That makes this definition inappropriate for our report too. To use it would be to imply that AI does not exist at present. We would effectively be defining the phenomenon out of existence. A common definition of AI is that it is a technology that enables machines to imitate various complex human skills. This, however, does not give as much to go on. In fact, it does no more than render the term artificial intelligence in different words. As long as those complex human skills are not specified, it remains unclear exactly what AI is. The same applies to the definition of AI as the performance by computers of complex tasks in complex environments. Other definitions go further in explaining these skills and tasks. For example, the computer scientist John Nelson describes a technology that functions appropriately and with foresight in its environment. Others speak of the ability to perceive, to pursue goals, to initiate actions, and to learn from a feedback loop. Take care of the verbs he used. A similar definition has been put forward by the high-level expert group on artificial intelligence of the European Commission. Systems. He started with the word systems. Systems that display intelligent behavior by analyzing their environment and taking actions with some degree of autonomy to achieve specific goals. These task-based definitions go some way towards giving us a better understanding of what AI is, but they still have limitations. Concepts like some degree of autonomy remain somewhat vague. Moreover, these definitions still seem overly broad in that key is that they describe phenomena that most of us would not be inclined to bundle under the term AI. For example, Nelson's definition also applies a classic thermostat. This device is also able to perceive, meaning measure the temperature of the room, pursue goals, meaning the program temperature, initiate actions, meaning regulate the thermostat, and learn from a feedback loop, meaning stop once the program temperature has been reached. Even so, most people would not be inclined to regard a thermostat as AI. It's not surprising that AI is so difficult to define clearly. It is, after all, an imitation or simulation of something we do not yet fully understand ourselves, which is human intelligence. This has long been the subject of research by psychologists, behavioral scientists, and neurologists, among others. We know a lot about intelligence. We know a lot about the human brain, but that knowledge is far from complete, and there is no consensus as to what exactly human intelligence is. Until that comes about, it's impossible to precise about how that intelligence can be imitated artificially. Moreover, there is a clear interface between research into human intelligence on the one hand and into artificial intelligence on the other, where our understanding of both is co-evolving. We can illustrate this using the example of chess, a game AI has been able to play extremely well since the 1990s. In the 1950s, an expert predicted if one could devise a successful chess machine, one would seem to have penetrated to the core of human intellectual endeavor. In 1965, the Russian mathematician Alexander Konrad called the chess the fruit fly of intelligence. That is the key to understanding it. So people were amazed about a computer that finally managed to beat a chess grandmaster. In the Netherlands, research in this field led to the founding of the Dutch Computer Chess Association Foundation. Amongst its initiators were chess legend and former world champion Max Euwe and computer scientist Jaap van den Herik. 3 years later, Van den Herik would defend the first PhD thesis in the Netherlands on computer chess and artificial intelligence. In 1997, when Garry Kasparov was defeated by Deep Blue, IBM's chess computer, the cover of Newsweek claimed that this was the brain's last stand. Chess was considered the pinnacle of human intelligence at first glance. This is not surprising because the game is difficult for people to learn, and those who are good at it are often considered very clever. It was with this in mind that commentators declared the Deep Blue's victory a huge breakthrough. For human intelligence, in machines, stating that it must now be within the reach of computers to surpass humans in all sorts of activities we consider easier than chess. Yet this did not happen. We have since revised our view of the form of intelligence. Chess is not the crowning glory of human intellectual endeavor. It's simply a mathematical problem with very clear rules and a finite set of alternatives. In this sense, a chess program is actually not very different from a pocket calculator, which can also do things too difficult even for very clever people, but they do not make it an artificial form of human intelligence. Chess was long considered an extremely advanced game. However, years of research have revealed that something as apparently simple as recognizing a cat in a photograph, which AI has only learned to do in recent years, is far more complex. This phenomenon has come to be known as Moravic's paradox. Moravic's paradox. Certain things that are very difficult for humans, such as chess or advanced calculus, are quite easy for computers, but things that are very simple for us humans, such as perceiving objects or using motor skills to do the washing up, turn out to be very difficult for computers. It's comparatively easy to make computers exhibit adult level performance on intelligence tests or playing checkers, and difficult or impossible to give them the skills of a 1-year-old when it comes to perception and mobility. Now, after we have talked about AI, about technology, about computers, about chess, about Moravec's paradox and the feedback loop, now we can complete our definition and the concept about AI. This reflects a recurring pattern in the history of AI. People's idea of what constitutes a complex form of human intelligence has evolved with the increasing skills of our computers. What used to be considered a fine example of artificial intelligence eventually degrades to a simple calculation that no longer deserves the name AI. Pamela McCorduck calls this the AI effect. As soon as a computer figures out how to do something, people declare that it's just a calculations and not actual intelligence. According to Nick Bostrom, director of the Oxford Institute for Internal Governance, AI includes anything that impresses us. He said, impresses us at any given time. Once we are no longer impressed, we simply call it software. A chess app on a smartphone is an example. The difficulties in defining AI are therefore not the result of some shortcoming or carelessness, but rather arise from the fact that we were long unable to determine precisely what intelligence we wanted to imitate artificially. In this context, it's also claimed that the use of the term intelligence is misleading, in that it wrong suggests that machines can do the same things as people. In this context, it's also claimed that the use of the term intelligence is misleading, in that it wrong suggested that machines can do the same things as people. Some have therefore suggested adopting other terms. Agrawal, Gaines, and Goldfarb say that modern technology does not bring us intelligence, but only one of its components, predictions, and so they use the term prediction machines. Prediction machines. The philosopher Daniel Dennett goes even further and suggests that we should not model AI on humans at all. These are not artificial people. These are not artificial people, but a completely new type of entity one. He compares with oracles, entities that make predictions, but unlike humans have no personality, consciousness or emotions. In other words, AI appears to do what people do, but in fact does something else. Digestra illustrated this through the question, do submarines swim? Do submarines swim? What these vessels do is similar to what humans call swimming, but to call it that would be a mistake. AI can certainly do things that look like the intelligent things we do, but in fact it does them very differently. Do submarines swim? What do you think? The perspective also sheds light on Moravec's paradox mentioned above. We talked about it before. Recognizing faces is easy for humans but different for computers. This is because recognizing others was critical for our evolutionary survival, and so our brain has learned to do it without thinking. Being able to play chess was not essential in evolution and is therefore more difficult to master. That is to say, it requires a certain level of computational skill. Computers have not evolved biologically, so their abilities are different from those of humans. One important aspect of this theory is that we should not try too hard to understand AI from the point of view of human intelligence. Nevertheless, the term artificial intelligence has become so commonplace that there is no point trying to replace it now. Finally, AI is also often equated with the latest technology, as we will see later. AI has gained huge momentum in recent years. One of the major drivers of this has been progress in a specific area of the field, machine learning, ML. Machine learning, ML, capital M, capital L, where the innovation has resulted in what is now called deep learning, symbolized as DL, capital letters. It is this technology that has been behind recent milestones, such as computers able to recognize faces and play games like Go. By contrast with the more traditional approaches whereby computer systems apply fixed rules. ML and DL algorithms can recognize patterns in data. We also speak here of self-learning algorithms. Many people who talk about AI today are actually referring to these algorithms and often specifically to DL. The focus on this technology is important because several pressing questions concerning AI are particularly relevant here. Given all the different definitions discussed here and elsewhere, we have settled on an open definition of AI. Two considerations are relevant in this respect. Firstly, it would be unwise for the purposes of this report to limit the definition of AI to a specific part of the technology. If, for example, we were to confine ourselves to deep learning, as discussed above, we would ignore the fact that many current issues also play a role in other AI domains, such as logical systems. One such example is the black box question. Also, most applications of AI used by governments are not based on advanced techniques like DL, and yet still have many important issues that need to be addressed in this report. Too narrow a definition would place them outside the scope of this study, while developments in DL have indeed resulted in a great leap forward. Moreover, at the end of the next chapter, we also point out several shortcomings of this technique. In fact, future advances in AI may well come from other fields. To allow for this, it is important to have an open definition of AI. Secondly, as discussed above, the nature of this scientific discipline necessarily means that our definition of AI will change over time. And instead of considering AI as a discipline that can be clearly delineated with uncomplicated definitions and fixed methodologies, it's more useful to see it as a complex and diverse field focused on a certain horizon. The dot on that horizon is the understanding and simulation of all human intellectual skills. This goal is also called artificial general intelligence, or symbolized as AGI capital letters. Other names are strong AI and full AI. However, it remains to be seen whether this dot with such a generic definition of AI will ever be reached. Most experts believe that this is at least several decades away. If it is ever attained at all, a fixed definition of AI as the imitation of full human intelligence is of little use for the purposes of this report. We need a definition that captures the whole range of applications finding their way into practice today and in the near future. This definition from the AIHLEG provides the necessary freedom of scope. Describing AI as systems that display intelligent behavior by analyzing their environment and taking actions with some degree of autonomy to achieve specific goals. This encompasses all the applications we currently qualify as AI, at the same time provides scope for future changes to that qualifications. Alongside advanced machine learning and deep learning technologies, this definition also allows for other technologies, including the more traditional approaches mentioned above, as used by many government bodies. In short, this definition is sufficiently strict to distinguish AI from algorithms and digital technology in general, while at the same time open enough to include future developments. So we reach that AI is, we can define it as, this is, as we said, it's an open definition. Systems that display intelligent behavior by analyzing their environment and taking actions with some degree of autonomy to achieve specific goals. One of them say, commenting this issue, he said that people worry that computers will get too smart and take over the world. Well, people worry about it, but the real problem is that he means the computers are too stupid and they have already taken over the world. Now this is the end of our definition, and we are going to start the background of AI, or artificial intelligence. Thank you.